India is civilization that has witnessed the birth of religions, the rise and fall of empires, and the evolution of human consciousness itself. From the snow-capped peaks of the Himalayas to the sun-kissed shores of Kerala, from bustling metropolises to mystical temples frozen in time, India isn't just a country. It's a living, breathing anthology of human existence. Join us on an extraordinary journey through this kaleidoscope of cultures, where every turn reveals a new wonder, and every wonder tells 1,000 stories. Standing guard like ancient sentinels, the Himalayan peaks cast their majestic shadows across India's northern frontier. Here, in the mystical land of Ladakh, prayer flags flutter against a backdrop of stark lunar landscapes, while monasteries perched on impossible cliffs echo with centuries-old chants. This is where India begins its story, not with a whisper, but with the thunderous declaration of nature's grandeur. In the heart of this mountain kingdom lies Pangong Tso, a vast saltwater lake that transforms from turquoise to indigo as clouds dance across its surface. At 14,270 feet above sea level, its waters mirror the ever-changing Himalayan sky, creating a canvas that has inspired mystics and wanderers for generations. The lake stretches like a sapphire ribbon for 134 kilometers, with 2/3 of its length extending into Tibet, making it a silent witness to ancient trade routes and nomadic journeys. Beyond Pangong's shores, the valley of Nubra unfolds like a surreal painting. Here, double-humped Bactrian camels traverse sand dunes that seem transported from the Sahara, yet snow-capped peaks surround them. The valley, once a crucial stop on the ancient Silk Road, tells tales of merchants, monks, and warriors who braved treacherous passes to connect civilizations. The region's crown jewel, Leh Palace, rises 9 stories high against the mountainous backdrop. This architectural marvel, completed in the 17th century, is a testament to ancient Ladakhi builders' ingenuity. Its mud-brick walls, weathered by centuries of extreme climate, house precious artifacts and manuscripts that chronicle the rich tapestry of Buddhist culture and royal heritage. In these highlands, every monastery tells a unique story. The Tiksi Monastery, with its striking resemblance to Lhasa's Patola Palace, houses a 2-story statue of Maitreya Buddha. The Hemis Monastery, the largest and wealthiest in Ladakh, bursts into life during its annual festival, where masked dancers perform ancient rituals that have remained unchanged for centuries. As night falls over this Himalayan sanctuary, the sky transforms into a glittering canopy of stars, unpolluted by artificial light. The absolute silence, broken only by the whistle of wind through prayer wheels, creates a moment of profound connection with the cosmos. This is where India touches the heavens, where spirituality isn't just practiced, it's lived in every breath of the thin mountain air. In the spiritual heart of India flows a river that isn't merely a watercourse, it's the liquid soul of a civilization. The Ganges, revered as Mother Ganga, begins its journey from the icy caves of Gangotri Glacier, transforming from a crystalline stream into a mighty river that cradles the stories of 500 million people who dwell along its banks. At the holy city of Varanasi, the oldest living city in the world, the river bends gracefully, creating a crescent that has witnessed over 3,000 years of continuous human habitation. Here, ancient ghats descend into the sacred waters like giant steps frozen in time. Each dawn, as the sun paints the sky in strokes of saffron and gold, thousands gather for the spiritual spectacle of Ganga Aarti, where fire dances in perfect synchronization with Sanskrit chants that have echoed through millennia. The city's labyrinthine lanes tell stories older than memory itself. Narrow alleys suddenly open into courtyards where Sanskrit scholars debate ancient texts, while temples hidden in corners house deities that have received unbroken worship since times immemorial. In these lanes, death is not hidden away but celebrated as a vital part of life's eternal cycle, making Varanasi unique in its philosophical approach to existence. Moving downstream, the Ganges graces Rishikesh, the yoga capital of the world, where the river tumbles from the Himalayas into the plains. Here, suspended bridges sway gently above rapids, and ashrams dot the riverbank, their white walls reflecting in the emerald waters. The evening air fills with the sound of temple bells and the gentle hum of meditative chants, creating a symphony that has drawn spiritual seekers for generations. Further along its course, the river flows past Patna, once the great capital of the Mauryan Empire, where Chandragupta and Ashoka ruled vast swathes of ancient India. The riverbanks here hold archaeological treasures that whisper tales of forgotten kingdoms and Buddhist monasteries where scholars from distant lands once gathered to study at the world's first universities. This isn't just a river. It's a living goddess to millions, a source of life, and a keeper of history. From its glacial origins to its merger with the Bay of Bengal, the Ganges remains an unbroken thread weaving together the diverse fabric of Indian civilization, carrying in its waters the hopes, prayers, and eternal faith of countless generations. Where the earth transforms into a sea of golden sand, the Thar desert unfolds its mystical tapestry across Rajasthan. Unlike any desert in the world, this isn't just an expanse of emptiness. It's a living canvas where nature paints with the colors of survival and human resilience creates culture in the most challenging conditions imaginable. In the heart of this arid expanse lies Jaisalmer, the Golden City, rising from the desert like a mirage made permanent. Its massive fort, built in 1156 AD, stands as the world's only living fort, where a quarter of the city's population still resides within honey-colored walls that glow like molten gold at sunset. The sandstone mansions, called Havelis, tell stories through their intricate latticework, where every carving serves both beauty and function, creating natural air conditioning in this harsh climate. Deeper into the desert, the Bishnoi tribes maintain traditions that were environmentally conscious centuries before the term was invented. These remarkable communities have been protecting trees and wildlife since the 15th century, following the teachings of Guru Jambeshwar, who laid down 29 principles of sustainable living. Their villages demonstrate how humans can thrive in harmony with nature even in the most challenging environments. The desert nights here reveal another wonder, a sky so clear and vast that it becomes a natural planetarium. The silence is profound, broken only by the wind's whispers across the dunes and perhaps the distant song of a desert fox. This is where travelers discover that emptiness can be more fulfilling than abundance, and silence more eloquent than words. But the fair isn't just about sand and silence. The desert bursts into life during the Pushkar Camel Fair, where thousands of camels and their turbaned traders converge in a spectacle that seems unchanged since medieval times. The air fills with the sounds of camel bells, folk music, and the vibrant chaos of one of Asia's largest livestock fairs, while the sacred Pushkar Lake reflects the colors of history and devotion. The desert's magic lies in its contradictions. It's a place where water is scarce, yet life flourishes, where extreme conditions don't just survive, but thrive. In the Thar, every grain of sand holds a story, and every sunset paints a new masterpiece on the greatest canvas nature has to offer. Imagine stepping into a world where every wall tells a tale of valor, every courtyard whispers secrets of romance, and every arch frames a story of royal intrigue. Welcome to Rajasthan's palatial wonders, where architecture transcends mere stone and mortar to become frozen music in marble and sandstone. These aren't just buildings. They're pages from history's most splendid chapter. The Amber Fort near Jaipur rises from the Aravalli Hills like a giant amber jewel catching the morning sun. Its Taj Mahal, the Palace of Mirrors, transforms a single candle flame into 1,000 stars through countless embedded mirrors, creating an illusion of infinite light. This masterpiece of Rajput architecture demonstrates how royal artisans turned physics into poetry, creating natural air conditioning through intricate window designs and water cascades that cooled entire chambers. In Udaipur, the Lake Palace seems to float like a white marble dream on Lake Pichola's tranquil waters. Built as a summer palace in 1746, it represents the pinnacle of Mewar luxury, where every room opens to a new view of the lake, and every courtyard tells a different story. The palace's construction was so precise that its reflection in the lake creates perfect symmetry, making it impossible to distinguish reality from reflection. The Mehrangarh Fort in Jodhpur soars 400 feet above the Blue City, its massive walls bearing witness to centuries of history. Unlike other forts built for mere defense, Mehrangarh houses some of India's most intricate palaces within its fortifications. The Phul Mahal, or Flower Palace, with its gold-leafed ceiling and stained glass windows, stands as testament to the refined artistic sensibilities of Rajput rulers. Moving to the city palace of Jaipur, we find a perfect blend of Rajasthani and Mughal architecture. The Chandra Mahal's 7 stories each represent a different aspect of Hindu heaven, while the Peacock Gate's intricate patterns celebrate the seasons through traditional craftsmanship. Here, the royal family still maintains their residence, making it one of the few living palaces that bridge the past and present. These palaces aren't just monuments to power, they're celebrations of human creativity and artistry. Each carved pillar, painted ceiling, and latticed window demonstrates how architecture can transcend its physical boundaries to become poetry in stone. In Rajasthan's palaces, every sunrise reveals new details, and every sunset casts different shadows on walls that have witnessed the grand drama of Indian history. Where spirituality meets architectural genius, South Indians' temples stand as mountains of devotion carved from single stones. These aren't merely places of worship, they're libraries in granite, astronomical observatories in stone, and musical instruments built from pillars. In these sacred spaces, science, art, and spirituality dance together in a harmony that defies time. The Brihadishwara temple in Thanjavur reaches towards the heavens with its 216-foot Vimana, crowned by a single granite block weighing 80 tons. Built a millennium ago, without modern technology, this architectural marvel keeps scholars puzzled even today. Its shadow mysteriously never falls on the ground at noon, while its walls hold elaborate frescoes that have preserved their vibrant colors for centuries without any chemical preservatives. At Hampi, the Vitala temple stands as a testament to ancient India's understanding of acoustics. Its musical pillars, each carved from single stones, produce different musical notes when gently tapped. The temple complex, spread across a surreal landscape of boulder-strewn hills, includes a stone chariot so perfectly balanced that its wheels could once rotate on their axles, instead of which it was transformed into engineering excellence. The Meenakshi Temple of Madurai rises like a divine city within a city, its 14 gopurams, gateway towers, covered with a rainbow explosion of 3,3,0,0,0 sculptures. Each sculpture tells a story from ancient texts, while the 1,000-pillar hall creates an optical illusion. From any angle, the pillars appear to be in a straight line. The temple tank, called the Golden Lotus Tank, acts as a natural air conditioner for the entire complex. In Mahabalipuram, the shore temple stands sentinel by the Bay of Bengal, its weathered spires telling tales of ancient maritime glory. Part of a larger complex that includes monuments carved from single rocks, it demonstrates how ancient architects used the position of the sun and stars to create visual spectacles during specific astronomical events. The Padmanabhaswamy Temple in Thiruvananthapuram guards its mysteries behind massive walls. Its Dravidian architecture incorporates scientific principles of geometry and Vastu Shastra, while its 7-storied Gopuram serves as a marker for ancient maritime navigation. Here, architecture transcends its physical form to become a bridge between the earthly and the divine, where every carved surface holds centuries of devotion, and every corner echoes with timeless chants. Where land and water engage in an endless dance of harmony, Kerala's backwaters weave a labyrinth of life unlike anywhere else on Earth. This intricate network of lagoons, lakes, and canals parallel to the Arabian Sea creates a unique ecosystem where nature and human life have found perfect equilibrium. In this liquid landscape, every ripple tells a story of sustainable living that predates modern environmental consciousness. Through these aquatic arteries glide the Kedavalams, Traditional houseboats that were once used to transport rice and spices, now transformed into floating boutique hotels. These thatched roof vessels, built without a single nail using ancient shipwright techniques, offer travelers a glimpse into a way of life that flows at nature's pace, where every rope and wooden plank serves a specific purpose. Life along the backwaters unfolds like a living documentary of harmonious existence. Chinese fishing nets, massive mechanical masterpieces introduced by traders from the court of Kublai Khan, still dip into the waters at sunrise. Their slow dance against the orange sky creates a silhouette that has become synonymous with Kerala's coastal beauty. These nets demonstrate how ancient technology can remain relevant through centuries when it works in harmony with nature. In the water villages of Alappuzha, known as the Venice of the East, daily life plays out on narrow strips of land between waterways. Children in white and blue uniforms board small boats to reach their schools, while women in vibrant saris wash clothes on stone steps, their conversations carrying across the water. Farmers tend to paddy fields that lie below sea level, protected by an intricate system of dikes and locks developed centuries ago. The backwaters also host one of the world's unique postal systems. Mail carriers navigate small boats through narrow canals to deliver letters to remote waterside communities. This water-based postal service represents the adaptation of modern systems to traditional ways of life, rather than forcing change upon an ancient lifestyle. As evening descends, the backwaters transform into a symphony of natural sounds. The gentle lapping of water against boat hulls, the distant calls of water birds returning to roost, and the rhythmic songs of fishermen heading home. This is where time slows down, where life moves to the gentle rhythm of rippling water, and where every sunset paints a new masterpiece on nature's liquid canvas. Where India's map curves like a bird's graceful neck, 7 states nestle among clouds and mysteries, each holding secrets that few travelers have witnessed. The Northeast, often overlooked in typical Indian narratives, harbors some of the planet's last untouched wonders. This is where clouds walk among people, where bridges grow from living roots, and where tribes keep traditions that predate written history. In Meghalaya, the abode of clouds, ancient Khasi tribes have mastered the art of bioengineering, creating living root bridges that grow stronger with each passing year. These architectural marvels, some over 500 years old, are built by training the aerial roots of rubber trees across rivers. Unlike man-made structures, these bridges become more robust with age, their tangled roots telling tales of generations who have crossed their spans. Deep in Arunachal Pradesh, the Tawang Monastery clings to mountainsides at 10,000 feet, standing as the largest Buddhist monastery in India. Golden roofs gleam against snow-capped peaks, while prayer wheels taller than humans spin ancient mantras into the thin mountain air. This is where spirituality doesn't just touch the clouds, it lives among them, in a monastery that houses over 450 monks and priceless Buddhist artifacts. The Kaziranga National Park in Assam rolls out like an endless carpet of tall elephant grass, hiding within its folds 2/3 of the world's one-horned rhinoceros population. Here, at dawn, the mist parts to reveal rhinos grazing beside wild elephants, while the mighty Brahmaputra River flows past like a liquid highway. This landscape hasn't changed significantly since the age of the dinosaurs. In Nagaland, the Hornbill Festival brings together all 16 major tribes in a celebration of cultural heritage. Warriors in vibrant headgear adorned with hornbill feathers perform ancient dances, while elders share stories in morungs, traditional community halls, that have been centers of tribal knowledge for centuries. Each tribe brings its unique traditions, creating a living museum of customs and rituals. Moving to Manipur's Loktak Lake, we find a world's only floating national park. Here, local communities live on fumdis, naturally occurring floating islands that rise and fall with the water levels. These biomass islands host unique ecosystems, including the endangered songhai deer, found nowhere else on Earth. The lake appears like a giant patchwork quilt from above, each floating island telling its own story of adaptation and survival. Beneath India's surface lies a hidden world where human devotion has transformed solid rock into sanctuaries of extraordinary beauty. These cave temples, carved painstakingly into mountainsides, represent perhaps humanity's most ambitious artistic endeavor. Here, in the belly of the earth, faith moved mountains, not by miracle, but by chisel and unwavering determination. The Ajanta caves emerge from a horseshoe-shaped cliff, like a string of pearls. Here about pearls, massive of coral to peat, created between the 2nd century BCE and 6th century CE, these 29 caves hold the world's finest collection of Buddhist art. Their walls come alive with murals painted using natural pigments that have survived over 2 millennia. The famous Dying Princess fresco tells tales of compassion with such emotional depth that it continues to move visitors to tears, its colors as vibrant as the day they were painted. At Ellora, human creativity reaches its zenith in the Kailasa Temple, the world's largest monolithic structure, carved top down from a single rock. 10,000 artisans spent 150 years removing 400,000 tons of rock to create this architectural marvel. The temple is twice the size of the Parthenon in Athens, yet every inch is carved with details so fine they seem to be woven in silk rather than chiseled in stone. The Elephanta Caves near Mumbai hold within their dark chambers the most profound expressions of Shaiva philosophy. The iconic Trimurti, a three-faced Shiva representing creation, preservation, and destruction, emerges from the rock wall with such power and serenity that it's considered one of the finest sculptures ever created. Each angle of this masterpiece reveals a different aspect of the divine, demonstrating how ancient artists understood the principles of perspective and proportion. In the Badami Caves of Karnataka, 4 cave temples showcase the evolution of Indian architectural styles. Here, Hindu and Jain artisans worked side by side, creating sanctuaries that demonstrate the religious harmony of ancient India. The caves feature some of the earliest known depictions of classical Indian dance poses, their walls serving as ancient textbooks of performing arts. The Udayagiri Caves near Bhopal hold the world's oldest zero-in carved form, alongside astronomical alignments that turn the caves into solar calendars. During specific times of the year, sunlight penetrates deep into these caves, illuminating sacred sculptures in a display of ancient scientific knowledge merged with spiritual devotion. These aren't just temples. They're testimonies to humanity's eternal quest to understand its place in the cosmos. Where spices dance on ancient flames and recipes pass through whispered conversations between generations, India's culinary landscape unfolds like an infinite feast. Here, every street corner tells a different flavor story. Every home guards secret recipes, and every region paints its own masterpiece on the plate. This isn't just food. It's an edible history of civilizations, migrations, and cultural exchanges. In the bylanes of Old Delhi, the aroma of Mughlai cuisine wafts through time-worn streets. Here, at Karyams, where the same family has been cooking for over 100 years, copper pots bubble with recipes that once graced the tables of emperors. The secret of the Murg Musalam lies not just in the spices, but in the ancestral knowledge of controlling coal temperatures, a craft passed down through 6 generations of master chefs. South India's cuisine writes its story on banana leaves, where the arrangement of dishes follows an ancient science of taste and nutrition. In Kerala's Sadhya feasts, 24 dishes are served in a specific sequence, creating a symphony of flavors that dance between sweet, sour, salty, bitter, and umami. Each preparation follows the principles of Ayurveda, turning a meal into medicine. The streets of Kolkata reveal how food transcends religion and cultural boundaries. Here, Jewish bakeries, Chinatown's breakfast stalls, and Bengali sweet shops have coexisted for centuries. The city's famous kathi rolls, born from the need to make kebabs portable for British colonials, tell a story of adaptation and innovation. Meanwhile, the complex art of making Bengali sweets has been recognized as an intangible cultural heritage. In Gudras Ran of Kutch, nomadic communities still make salt-based dishes that have sustained desert life for millennia. Their method of preparing karod, sun-dried milk solids, demonstrates how necessity mothers Kulani innovation. These age-old preservation techniques, passed down through generations, remain relevant in modern times. The story extends to the Himalayan region, where Tibetan influence meets Indian ingredients. In Ladakh's monastery kitchens, butter tea and thukpa recipes showcase how Buddhist monks adapted their dietary practices to high-altitude conditions. These dishes aren't just about sustenance, they're about survival, community, and maintaining cultural identity in extreme conditions. Where expression transcends words and emotions flow through gestures, India's classical performing arts paint stories in the air. This isn't just entertainment, it's a living library where myths, mathematics, and meditation merge into movement. Each dance form, each musical raga, each theatrical tradition serve as a thread in an unbroken cultural tapestry that stretches back millennia. Where Netanyahu dances into living sculptures, every gesture or mudra contains a universe of meaning. A flick of the wrist might describe an entire epic, while a glance can convey volumes of emotion. The dance form follows sacred geometry, with movements tracing mandala patterns on the floor, turning performance spaces into temporary temples where art becomes worship. In Kerala's Kathakali, performers undergo transformations that begin hours before dawn. As elaborate makeup turns human faces into divine masks, ancient stories come alive through precise eye movements and facial expressions. A single performance can last from dusk till dawn, with artists using their entire bodies as instruments to portray the great epics of Indian mythology. The classical music of India measures time differently. Ragas are tied to specific hours of the day, seasons of the year, and moods of the human heart. In the hands of masters, the sitar and tabla speak a language older than words. The music follows mathematical principles so precise that specific ragas are said to have the power to bring rain or light lamps through their sound vibrations. North India's Dhrupad tradition preserves the oldest form of Hindustani classical music, where a single note is explored for hours, like a meditation in sound. In the ancient city of Varanasi, Gharanas, musical houses, still train students in the Guru Shishya tradition, where knowledge passes from master to disciple through years of personal instruction. The tradition of Kutiyattam in Kerala, recognized by UNESCO as a masterpiece of human heritage, preserves the world's oldest surviving theater form. Performances can take up to 40 days to complete a single story, with actors using subtle gestures that have remained unchanged for 2,000 years. This isn't theater for entertainment, it's a living bridge to ancient wisdom, where every performance becomes a meditation on human existence. Where threads weave stories and colors tell histories, India's textile heritage unfolds like an infinite tapestry of human creativity. Each region speaks its own language of fabric. Each weave holds centuries of innovation, and every pattern tells tales of communities who have dedicated generations to perfecting their craft. This isn't just cloth, it's a wearable anthology of culture. In Varanasi's ancient lanes, the rhythmic clacking of hand looms echoes through time. Here, master weavers create Banarasi brocades, so fine that a sari can pass through a ring. These artisans work with threads of gold and silver, weaving designs that have adorned royalty for centuries. Each motif, the paisley, the flowering vine, the celestial peacock, carries symbolic meaning, turning every sari into a book of symbols that can be read by those who know the language. Kashmir's Pashmina tradition transforms wool finer than human hair into shawls so delicate they can float on a breath of air. The entire process, from collecting wool from high-altitude mountain goats to the final weaving, involves hundreds of skilled artisans. A single shawl might take years to complete, with patterns so intricate that their complexity rivals genetic code. In Gujarat's Kutch region, the Ajrak block printing tradition survives as a living testament to sustainable artistry. Master craftsmen use natural dyes extracted from pomegranate rinds, turmeric roots, and indigo leaves, following a process that includes 23 steps of printing, washing, and sun bleaching. Each piece must be dipped multiple times, making the process as much about patience as skill. The bandanis of Rajasthan demonstrate how necessity breeds artistry. In this technique, thousands of tiny knots are tied by hand before dyeing, creating patterns that seem to dance on fabric. The art requires such precision that often entire families specialize in tying different sizes of knots, passing their expertise down through generations. The Kanjivaram silk tradition of Tamil Nadu weaves temple architecture into fabric. These saris incorporate designs from ancient temple sculptures, with borders featuring motifs of temple towers and sacred symbols. The weaving technique is so complex that even today, no machine can replicate what human hands achieve on traditional looms, making each piece a testament to the irreplaceable value of human craftsmanship. Where chaos orchestrates its own harmony, and millions of stories intersect at every corner, India's urban streets pulse with an energy that defies description. This isn't just city life, it's a living, breathing theater, where ancient traditions dance with modern aspirations, where every street corner is a stage, and every passerby plays multiple roles in the daily drama of existence. Mumbai's Dabawalas perform a daily miracle, delivering over 200,000 lunchboxes with near-perfect accuracy, using a coding system that has attracted global attention. This 130-year-old network operates without digital technology, yet maintains a Six Sigma level of precision. Each Dabawala is part of a human supply chain that demonstrates how traditional knowledge systems can outperform modern logistics in urban environments. In Delhi's Chandni Chowk, centuries-old shops hide behind electric wires and neon signs, creating a timeline where eras collide. Here, a perfume shop might trace its lineage to Mughal court perfumers, while next door, a street vendor sells mobile phone accessories. The narrow lanes host a democracy of commerce, where age-old trading traditions adapt to contemporary demands without losing their essential character. Kolkata's College Street, the world's largest second-hand book market, stretches for more than a mile, with books stacked from floor to ceiling in hundreds of stalls. Here, passionate discussions about literature and philosophy spill out from historic coffee houses, while students hunt for rare editions among mountains of books. This isn't just a market, it's an open university where knowledge flows freely through generations. The street food lanes of Hyderabad's Old City tell stories of cultural fusion through flavor. At Charminar, centuries-old recipes adapt to modern tastes while maintaining their authentic core. The famous Irani cafes, with their vintage decor and traditional bun maska, serve as time capsules, where the past converges with the present over cups of chai. In Ahmedabad's Pal communities, entire neighborhoods share common courtyards where private life becomes communal celebration. These traditional urban planning systems, with their earthquake-resistant architecture and natural cooling systems, demonstrate how ancient wisdom can offer solutions to modern urban challenges. Here, every morning begins with feeding birds from chabutras, bird feeders, maintaining an age-old tradition of coexistence between humans and nature in urban spaces. Where faith meets festivity and tradition explodes into celebration, India's festivals transform ordinary days into extraordinary spectacles. This isn't just celebration, it's a living calendar where every month brings new colors, every region adds its unique flavors, and every festival tells stories of cultural confluence that have evolved over millennia. In Varanasi, Dev Deepawali turns the Ganges into a river of light as millions of earthen lamps float on its sacred waters. The entire city becomes an amphitheater of illumination, with every ghat decorated with intricate rangoli patterns made from flowers and colored powder. This festival of lights, celebrated 15 days after Diwali, transforms the ancient city into a cosmic display where earth and sky seem to merge in a dance of light. Kerala's Thrissur showcases how tradition adapts to contemporary times while maintaining its core essence. Hundreds of caparisoned elephants gather in geometric formations, while traditional percussion ensembles create rhythms that seem to shake the earth itself. The festival's famous umbrella exchange ceremony, where teams compete to display increasingly elaborate parasols, demonstrates how artistic competition can foster cultural preservation. At Rajasthan's Pushkar Camel Fair, ancient trading traditions transform into a cultural spectacle. Beyond the buying and selling of livestock, the fair becomes a showcase of Rajasthani culture, where turbaned men with magnificent mustaches compete in traditional sports, while women in swirling skirts perform kalbilya dances. The desert landscape turns into a canvas of colors, music, and age-old customs. The Hornbill Festival in Nagaland brings together 16 major tribes in a celebration that serves as a bridge between tradition and modernity. Here, ancient warrior dances coexist with rock music concerts, while traditional rice beer is served alongside modern cuisine. This festival demonstrates how cultural preservation doesn't mean freezing traditions in time, but allowing them to evolve while maintaining their essential character. In Punjab, Hola Mohalla transforms the spring festival of Holi into a display of martial artistry. Nihang warriors demonstrate centuries-old fighting techniques while riding horses at full gallop, their blue robes flowing like waves of tradition through time. This unique celebration shows how spiritual festivities can incorporate multiple aspects of cultural heritage, from warfare to worship. Where time moves in spirals rather than lines, India's heritage cities stand as open-air museums, where every stone tells a story, every corner holds a legend, and every dawn reveals a new layer of history. These aren't just urban settlements. They're living chronicles, where past and present engage in constant dialogue. In Mysore, the erstwhile capital of the Wadiyar dynasty, tradition lives in everyday rhythms. The magnificent Mysore Palace, illuminated by 9,7,000 bulbs, creates a celestial spectacle on earth. But beyond this obvious grandeur, the city's soul resides in its centuries-old Devada Raja market, where flower sellers create garlands using techniques passed down through generations, and sandalwood carvers transform fragrant wood into divine forms, using tools their grandfathers once wielded. The pink city of Jaipur reveals urban planning that was ahead of its time. Built according to ancient Vastu principles, its grid-like streets and uniform architecture demonstrate how traditional wisdom can create sustainable urban spaces. The city's heart beats in its crafts quarters, where blue pottery artists work beside gem cutters, and textile printers lay their fabrics out to dry in centuries-old courtyards. Ahmedabad's walled city, India's first UNESCO World Heritage City, showcases how communities can preserve their heritage while embracing modernity. Its PL houses, with their earthquake-resistant construction and intricate wooden facades, represent architectural innovation that predates modern engineering. Every morning, residents perform centuries-old rituals, even as they head to modern offices. Walking through Lucknow's Chowk area is like stepping through pages of history. Here, Chikankari embroiderers work in shops where their ancestors once crafted garments for nobility. The city's famous tehzeeb, etiquette, lives on in the way shopkeepers interact with customers and in the elaborate rituals of serving tea that transform simple refreshment into an art form. In Pondicherry's French Quarter, Tamil and French colonial architecture create a unique urban landscape where East truly meets West. The town planning reflects both European sensibilities and Indian adaptations, resulting in a space where Mediterranean-style villas stand beside traditional Tamil homes, each maintaining its distinct character while contributing to a harmonious whole. Where mythology merges with reality and stories shape civilizations, India's epics continue to breathe life into modern existence. These aren't just ancient tales, they're living philosophies that guide millions, inspire countless art forms, and provide metaphors for understanding life's complexities. In India, stories don't just entertain, they transform. The Ramayana and Mahabharata exist not just as texts, but as living traditions that adapt and evolve across regions and languages. In Tamil Nadu's Thanjavur paintings, scenes from these epics come alive in gold leaf and precious stones. Meanwhile, in Kerala's Kudiyattam theater, the same stories unfold through elaborate eye movements and hand gestures, each performance taking weeks to complete a single scene. Hidden in the lanes of Varanasi, traditional storytellers called Kathavachaks still gather audiences for all-night sessions, weaving ancient tales into contemporary relevance. Their art isn't just narration, it's a form of philosophical discourse where epic battles become metaphors for inner struggles and divine interventions illustrate cosmic principles. Each storyteller adds their own interpretation, keeping the traditions dynamic and relevant. The epics manifest differently across India's landscape. In Karnataka's Yakshagana performances, stories from the Mahabharata transform into all-night theatrical spectacles where elaborate costumes and spontaneous dialogue bring ancient characters to life. In Rajasthan's pod paintings, entire epic narratives unfold on single scrolls, creating portable temples of storytelling that traveling bards carry from village to village. Modern India continues to reinterpret these eternal stories. Comic books, television series, and digital animations adapt ancient narratives for new generations. Yet the core teachings remain unchanged. Dharma, duty, karma, action, and moksha, liberation, continue to resonate through new mediums. Street art in Mumbai might depict Hanuman flying with a modern city skyline, while tech startups name their conference rooms after epic characters. In corporate boardrooms and village squares alike, examples from these epics are used to illustrate leadership principles and ethical dilemmas. The stories provide a shared cultural vocabulary that transcends regional and linguistic boundaries, creating a unified narrative space where ancient wisdom addresses contemporary challenges, where tradition fuels innovation and ancient wisdom meets cutting-edge technology. Modern India emerges as a global powerhouse of ideas and innovation. This isn't just development, it's a unique fusion where centuries-old philosophical foundations support modern scientific achievements, creating a bridge between ages. In Bangalore's Silicon Valley, tech campuses rise like modern temples of innovation, where young engineers code the future while practicing yoga during lunch breaks. The city's success isn't just about technology, it's about creating a unique ecosystem where traditional Indian values of jugaad, innovative problem-solving, merge with cutting-edge technical expertise, producing solutions that address global challenges. India's space program, ISRO, demonstrates how ancient mathematical principles find new applications in cosmic exploration. The Mars Orbiter mission, accomplished at a fraction of typical costs, showcases the Indian ability to achieve more with less. Traditional Sanskrit texts on astronomy and mathematics provide surprising insights that complement modern space research, creating a unique approach to scientific advancement. The revolution in digital payments, led by UPI, Unified Payments Interface, transforms how millions of Indians handle money. From street vendors to luxury stores, this technological leap hasn't just modernized transactions, it's democratized them. Ancient trading communities adapt seamlessly to digital platforms, proving that innovation works best when it respects existing social structures. In healthcare, India emerges as the pharmacy of the world, where ancient Ayurvedic knowledge complements modern medical research. Pharmaceutical companies in Hyderabad and Mumbai produce life-saving drugs for global markets, while research institutions explore how traditional herbs might answer modern medical challenges. This synthesis of old and new creates a unique approach to global healthcare solutions. The rise of Indian multinational companies showcases a management style that combines Western efficiency with Eastern wisdom. CEOs quote from the Bhagavad Gita in boardroom presentations, while traditional concepts of dharma, duty, and karma, action, influence corporate social responsibility initiatives. This distinct approach to business demonstrates how ancient philosophies can guide modern enterprise. In this tapestry of wonders, India stands not just as a country, but as a living, breathing universe of experiences. From the peaks of the Himalayas to the shores of Kanyakumari, from ancient temple complexes to modern tech hubs, every corner of this land tells a story of continuity amidst change. As we conclude our journey through this kaleidoscope of cultures, traditions, and innovations, we realize that India's true wonder lies not just in its individual marvels, but in how they weave together to create a civilization that continues to inspire, intrigue, and influence the world.